Hey guys, let's talk about swim jigs for a minute. You know, I get a ton of people asking me questions about swim jigs, what kind of tackle I use, what kind of situations do I use, but I think the biggest question I get all the time is what trailer do you use? Well, I don't use a whole lot of different trailers. I got one that I really like, the Netbait Kenney. But the thing about that is you can rig it a couple of different ways for whatever different situations you're in. Now, I throw pretty much exclusively. I throw Nichols lures. This is a Saber swim jig or the Nichols lures sledgehammer swim jig. The sledgehammer swim jig has a great big thick hook in it. It's for real heavy cover. I would only throw the sledgehammer from Nichols lures on braided line, which by the way, you can get all those Nichols lures at Bass Pro Shops now. But anyway, so this is the Saber swim jig. And like I said, my very favorite trailer is the Netbait Kenney, and I'll tell you why. The main reason why this is my very favorite trailer, this is a black and blue, is because fish bite it. Now there's a couple more reasons too, but that's my favorite one. So all right, so I'm gonna pull this out. Sometimes I'll use green pumpkin, black and blue. I like that Bama bug color a lot. There's several different colors. They all work really well. But the cool thing about the Kenney is see the flat profile of it? See how it's pretty thin like that? Okay, the cool thing about this is, say I'm fishing in a situation where maybe I'm around a bunch of hay grass or wire grass, or even I've got some hydrilla that's real close to the top, and say I only have about that much open water to fish in. So I want my swim jig to stay really high in the water column. And maybe I want to reel it slow or slower, but keeping it really high in the water column. The little trick with the Kenney, dude, use this thing like a plane. See how wide it is this way and how narrow it is this way? So I'll take my Saber swim jig, and I'll rig it so it's sideways like this. Get it up there so it lays nice and straight. And you can see what I've done. That'll actually act like a plane, and the water pressing against that flat surface of the bottom of that Kenney, that'll allow the jig to ride a lot higher in the water column and not have to wind it as hard. So like I said, it'll act like a plane, and it'll keep that jig higher in the water column. Now, if you're in a situation where you're around more sparse grass, you want to fish it a little deeper, all you have to do is do the exact opposite. Look, I can take the same Kenney, and now I'll rig it sideways, what I'm going to call sideways from what we just did, and pop it out and rig it like this. Now, as you can see, it's like that. So there's not nearly as much surface down here. Therefore, the water's not pushing up on it as much, and it'll ride deeper in the water column. So it's the perfect trailer. You don't need a million different trailers. If you want a trailer that's going to make it ride deeper in the water column, rig your Kenney like that. You know what I mean? So it's, so to speak, sideways. Or if you want to rig it where it's making it ride higher, like we said, all you got to do is pop it off, turn it, and slide it back up on like that. So it's like that. And then it'll ride a lot higher in the water column. So low in the water column, want it vertical, put it perpendicular to ride higher in the water column. There you go. You can change the depth of your swim jig just by changing your trailer.